Hey guys, so I wanted to jump in today and talk about my fitness journey. You may or may not know, but I have been a fitness instructor for about a year and a half. It started with some online coaching, which started back, let's see, it's 2019, so about 4 years ago, I think it was. And so I started doing online coaching, and then a few years later, I actually became a fitness coach or fitness instructor, and I have certified in 3 different fitness techniques. And so I wanted to talk about where my journey is with health and fitness. There have been some changes recently, and people may be questioning, maybe no one cares. I'm not really sure. But if you do care, I kind of wanted you to hear from me and hear my story because I feel like every time something happens to me, there's something to learn from it, and I can always share it with others that it may help them along on their journey. And it's something that I kind of along the lines, I released a video probably about a year and a half ago about really praying and listening to what God wants you to do, and no matter what, not just your health and fitness journey, but just in life in general, seeking God, seeking what He wants you to do. So last year, I had a flare up of sciatica that I had not had pain with my sciatic area in a few years. As I had released weight and changed my eating habits, the pain had actually been non existent. I had not been to a chiropractor in years. I had felt really well. And all of a sudden, over about a 2-month period, the pain kept getting worse and worse and worse to the point one night I did not sleep at all. The pain was horrific. And I was quickly in the morning searching for a chiropractor, begging to get an appointment to get seen. I couldn't take the pain anymore. And I continued teaching through the course of getting treatment. I did not stop teaching, which now looking back maybe wasn't the best thing, but that's what I did. Um, I tend to be the person that if God calls me to something, if I am in leadership position, I will probably injure myself or overextend myself to minister to the needs of others before I take care of myself. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it may be a strength or it may be a weakness. I don't know, right? So anyway, so I have continued treatment, and I did get a lot better with my back. But back in probably like mid-January, I guess, something happened and I started getting shoulder pain. Again, I ignored it. I kept teaching 5 days a week, 2 different fitness formats, and it would hurt, and I would just keep pressing through, teaching, working out, and it got to the point one morning where I was doing some simple stretches, and my shoulder, like, it felt like it literally came completely out of place, and it was the worst pain I'd ever felt. I actually thought I was going to throw up from the pain. It was horrible. I have broken bones before, and that was nothing compared to this pain. I mean, it was sickening in my stomach. It hurt so bad. And so I went to the chiropractor, and he was like, "What have you been doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm still teaching." He was like, "I told you to stop." And I'm thinking, okay, you told me to take off like 3 days, and I did take off 3 days. You didn't say I couldn't come back. So I went back to teaching after 3 days and using my shoulder. Well, apparently I wasn't supposed to, according to him. He keeps putting it back in place, and before it will set, I go teach another class and pull it back out. And so we're just going round and round and round, which was a little costly for me, actually. It costs quite a bit to continue teaching that format because that was a lot of visits to the chiropractor trying to put it back in place. So he had a real heart-to-heart conversation with me, and I really appreciate it because he was like, you're kind of going like headed towards surgery if you don't stop. And that hit me because um, teaching the fitness format that I have been teaching has been a ministry. It's never compensated for all that it costs me financially to teach the course. And so I'm already in the hole financially teaching this format. And now you're telling me I'm kind of looking at a $10,000 deductible for surgery. And I'm like, well, I'm already in the hole with teaching this. And then you're telling me that I'm going to really go into debt, $10,000. And that kind of put it in perspective for me that, okay, enough is enough. Like, this has got to stop. And so I abruptly stopped class teaching. And so I explained to everyone what was going on, and I felt bad, and it was kind of hard to stop teaching because I know there was a point where God had called me to lead these ladies, and to abruptly stop like that was not in my character, and I kind of struggled with it, but I kept going back to, if I have surgery, I'm the one stuck with a $10,000 bill. Like, this is going to be on me. I'm the one who's going to have to go through the pain of the surgery and the recovery and the time out of work, and like, it just got to a point where it just wasn't worth it. And so I stepped away from teaching. I kept that certification for that dance fitness certification. And I continued teaching aqua because the chiropractor was like, as long as you're not doing shoulder movements, you're okay, which a lot of my participants have shoulder issues. So I was already learning how to modify, how to teach and use and teach arm movements without using shoulders, because I do have some participants that have to modify. So I became one of those in my class that couldn't do shoulder exercises either. So that was really easy to continue teaching aqua. Well, in the process, I had led a Your Best Self course called Aging Backwards through a journey of learning how to take better care of our bodies, which was so ironic. I didn't know why God was telling me to teach this course, and I'm the one who ended up probably needing it the most. I don't know. But I did learn how. I learned how to take better care of my body, and I started thinking about my body in the idea of mobility. And I turned 40 this year, and the idea of, I want to be around for another 50 or 60 years, and I don't want to be laying around. Like, I want to be active. I want to feel good. I want to have range of motion. If I fall down to the floor, I want to be able to get back up. And so my thought process about movement completely changed, and I started doing eccentrics. And I have been doing eccentrics just at home through on demand for, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks. And my chiropractor is amazed at the amount of healing that's taken place, of how good my posture looks, how good my structure looks. My massage therapist is very pleased with my healing journey. And they've been with me since I was in that last summer, where I hurt myself with sciatica and then the shoulder this year. So last week, I did cancel my certification with Refit. It was really hard. It was one of those things that I kind of sat and I prayed about, and I really had a hard time pulling the trigger. But I'm like, why am I going to hold on to a certification that injures me? There's no way around it. The format just doesn't do well with my body, and it really doesn't do well with my adrenal glands. Finding eccentrics and coupled with aqua, is something that's been very healing for my hormones. It's been very healing for my thyroid, very healing for my adrenals. I've not had crashes or issues. I've actually had more energy. I'm feeling better. I'm not stiff. I've actually developed muscles. I mean, my whole body is actually going in a really healthy direction. And why would I hold on to the past? And I know a lot of times that's easy to do in life. And it kind of felt like I was quitting. And I don't like to be a quitter. Like, if I feel like something's hard, I'm going to dig in and give it my all to accomplish whatever it is. Like, I don't like giving up. I like the challenge, actually. My whole life has been a challenge, so I really like the challenge of that. And so I prayed about it. I talked to a friend, and it's just like, first of all, it's not the end of the world. Like, you can always go back and get recertified. And I was like, that's true, very true. But when I weighed the pros and the cons, like, I know it's not the fitness format for my joints. Like, it isn't. It's not the fitness format for my adrenal glands. Um, in this Eccentrics that I have found that I'm going to be starting the certification I plan to this summer, I feel like this is the I've come in contact with so many people who were injured and who want to jump into like high intensity, high impact workouts. And I'm like, please don't do that. You're just going to injure yourself. And I feel like getting Eccentrics certification is something that I can offer to a lot of women who feel like they have to injure their bodies in order to lose weight or get healthy. And it's so far from the truth. So um, I just I'm here I am. Here I am at this crossroads. Um, I'm excited to learn more about this movement because it has definitely helped me. And I love Aqua. Love Aqua so much. Aqua makes sense to me. Teaching, it just flows. It's so easy. I incorporate some of the dance fitness for my other certification into the water by using some of the songs, just changing up the movements. And so I get to offer some lyrics that are fun and encouraging, and it just flows. It's really, I love the water. I'm a water baby. And so the two together, Eccentrics and Aqua, have just been incredible for my own health. And I think there's so much out there that you can do with those. For anyone who has any kind of chronic pain or hormone imbalances or any kind of autoimmune issues, um, there's movement out there that you can do and not injure yourself. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I know as hard as it was to say goodbye to something, I just know that when we hold on to something that God's not calling us to do anymore, we're hindering ourselves from moving forward to the blessings that he has for us, the future that he has for us, the future that he's calling us to. We hold ourselves back when we hold on to what's comfortable that he's not calling us to anymore. And I just encourage you to seek out for yourself, just in general, not necessarily health and fitness, but what is God calling you to do? And is there anything in your life that you're holding on to from your past because it's comfortable, because it's always been that way, that maybe you need to let go so that you can fully move into what God has called for you to do? All right. Be blessed.